Every time when you have a thought, every time when you feel emotion, your body sends specific signaling system to your brain. And then your brain sends signaling system to your hormonal axis. And as a result, you produce physical reaction. So very simple. Your thought creates emotion. Emotion creates hormonal discharge. Hormones go and act on your organs. And that's how we create health, wellness, or opposite of it, disease. That's why emotions are very important. Without that component, you're not going to be able to heal your hormones. You're not going to be able to heal the inflammation. You're not going to be able to heal those underlying things that you have in your body, no matter how much of vitamins and peptides you will take. You're going to mask it for a while, but then it's going to come back again. And that's so. Back in the days when we used to live in caves, we had to have this mechanism of survival. And that's why anatomically, physiologically, we have two systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system makes you sharp, quick, very, very effective, and you need that. But parasympathetic nervous system calms it down, meaning that when you saw tiger, you had to take action, either run or you had to fight with it. This is when your sympathetic discharge had to help. But then once the fight is over, or once you run away, you needed to shake it off and feel better. This is when parasympathetic would come and balance it. And having too much of sympathetic creates problems like inflammation. Having too much of parasympathetic creates problem like stagnation, unmotivation, if there's such word for that. Basically feeling numb to life, okay? So that's why you don't want to do too much of any of that. It's all about balance. But importance of knowing the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system is very important. Why? Because your lungs, your heart, your bowel, your all other organs inside you are being innervated, meaning that they have this meshwork of nerve fibers, innervation physiologically, which helps these organs to communicate between each other, cells to communicate between each other, and also it helps to communicate with the brain and bring the hormones and so forth. It's a communication system. Okay, so you need the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system in your organs. But now imagine if you are going through stress. Today you don't have tigers, but if you are responding to that like or dislike on your post, or if you are responding to something that you saw on TV, or someone told you a story, or someone said something to you, same axis is working, same sympathetic and parasympathetic, same response, thinking that you are going through that stress of running from the tiger and trying to save your life. And it's happening on a micro level every day. And you are so accustomed to it, you're so used to it, you don't even feel it. You feel okay. You say, I'm okay. As long as I'm not angry, I'm fine. But internally, it's all happening on this sympathetic nervous system. We call it vegetarian system or autonomic nervous system. So it's all happening there. Now, every thought, we said, creates emotion. What these emotions come from? These emotions are energy in motion. In your brain, you have a place called amygdala. This is where you store all your emotions, all your memories in form of emotions. This is where post-traumatic stress disorder is stored as well. So now people think that if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, you definitely had to have something horrible that happened to you. It's actually not true. That stress disorder can happen also from chronic exposure to small micro stresses, micro traumas in your childhood, in your like maybe 20s, in your 30s, 40s, whatever age you are, small micro traumas, what we call stress, chronic stress. Okay. But for those who had to go through emotional traumas in the past, and even if you don't remember them, they stored over there, and they stored not in the form of story. That's very important to remember, because some say, oh, but I have this I had war, and that's why my emotional story and my trauma is more severe than the trauma of someone who just lost a job. Not true. It's not the story. It's not what happened to you. It's how much of emotional discharge you released at that time. Very simple. If your mother, when you were little, left you with the babysitter, that emotional discharge of fear, being alone, that separation, could have created this micro trauma in your brain. And if it keep happening all the time, you create this program, that fear. Okay. Now we're going to go back to emotions again. Base emotions, the most important ones, are emotion of love, which is elevated emotion, the positive one, and not elevated. I'm not going to call it negative because we need them as well. Emotion of fear and emotion of guilt. And we're going to be talking about these two emotions because entire world, entire society is built on these two emotions, fear and guilt. Just think for a moment. We manipulate each other, humans, and sometimes we call it a good thing, but it's still manipulation. We manipulate each other. Mother manipulates the kid. A husband and wife manipulates each other. School manipulates you. Society, your boss, your employees and employers, everything, your government, everything always manipulates you. If you're not going to do this, you're going to get that. Oh, you don't do this, you're a bad person. You see? So these two emotions that will be our key emotions, key tools that we're going to be working on inside of us. And those who know me, you guys probably agree that when you talk to me, I always like no guilt. I feel no guilt because I worked on myself so much. Do I feel guilt? Of course I do, but I recognize it immediately. And this is the goal. The goal is not to get rid of guilt, get rid of fear. You will never, ever be able to get rid of it. Why? Because it's a part of your survival mechanism, part of your survival structure. You need them. You need them. But you need to have a control over them. That's the whole idea. Recognize it and say, you fear. Okay, good, thank you. Stay over here. I'm the driver. Even if you're feeling fear at that moment, you will see yourself, once you recognize, fear again, immediately it's going to start losing power over you. Same thing with guilt. Okay. Now, anger. You feel angry because you feel powerless. And you feel powerless, then somewhere underneath you're feeling either anger or fear or both. And when you can't fix it, you become frustrated and angry. And we have this mechanism called Kundalini, or movement of energy. You can call it anything you want, but it's the mechanism of movement of energy, movement of your life force through your body. So since emotions are your energies, and energies always have to move, because the moment energy stops moving in your body, you die. It's definition of death. So energy has to move. Energy has to change its shapes and forms, but constantly move. And we call it toric field, right? We call it prana, we call it chi, we call it kundalini, whatever we call it, but it's basically, it's your energy. And remember that energy comes from what? Your mitochondria on the physical level. Mitochondria creates this negative -80 discharge when you feel great, or -20 when you feel like completely deflated. So mitochondria, your easy water on the physical level, contribute to this energy. But then you also have other mechanism on your autonomic nervous system that moves the energy. So the idea is to move the energy. So if you have fear, which is the lowest energy, fear is the lowest, then goes shame and guilt on top of that, automatically you have this valve that makes this energy to work up. Because if it's not going to go up, it's going to sit in that position and create damage in your body. So you get angry because feeling angry is better than feeling guilty. Feeling angry is better than feeling fearful. But then idea is not to stay in anger, but let that energy to go further up. And that is the actual practice. This is what all the yogis do, all the ninjas, all the monks and Tibetan monks. This is the work they do. You see, just to move the freaking energy up. Don't get it stagnant. So we have two triangles, and those who've been with us in gladiator retreats, they know lower triangle and the upper triangle. Okay, so you see, in the lower triangle, you have the lowest point of this triangle. Look at the lowest point. We're going to put some names there. It's fear. Fear is right there, right here. Then goes by guilt and shame. And then in the base of the triangle, closer to base to triangle, we have anger. Guilt and shame, and close to base, right there, anger. Okay? And that line in between is your diaphragm. So all the organs that you have below your diaphragm, these are the organs that are responsible for your fear, guilt, shame, anger. That's why we say, I feel it in my gut. Why? Because there is a response in your gut, either fear, guilt, or shame, or anger. The idea is not to sit in this triangle, because when you live in this triangle, you're living in this environment when all you fear is just run by these emotions. And then the diaphragm is the state of peace. You have to have peace with what is. You're feeling angry? Okay, good. I'm feeling angry. I'm alive. I know I'm feeling angry because I'm scared. I'm probably scared because I feel like if I'm not going to do this, this project will fail, I'm not going to have money. If I'm not going to have money, then I probably will have to call bankruptcy. And then if I declare bankruptcy, everybody's going to laugh at me. So now it's fear and now it's shame. And then I don't know what I'm going to do. I probably not going to be able to survive and live this lifestyle. Then I'm going to have to downgrade myself. And probably I'm going to live in a bad neighborhood. And probably I'm going to get killed. You see? And then you get angry. That is that person's problem. That is that person's fault. If I wouldn't have that person on our team, I wouldn't have that. Now blame. You see? Why are you blaming? Because you don't want to feel that, oh, I'm going to live in a bad neighborhood. It's scary. No, I'd rather just blame someone to feel better. And now you're feeling better, but still in the lower triangle. Oh, and do your Kundalini yoga, you do your breath work, you jump in a cold shower. Maybe you listen to this and you go, you know what? I'm in peace. I'm in peace. It's okay. It is what it is. It is what it is. I know it's going to go well because I know my anatomy. I know my life. Everything is working out for me. Everything always was working out for me. It will work out this time. Everything is always working out for me. I know that. Now you move the energy to that peace energy and the diaphragm. Oh, whew, that relief. When you feel relief, oh, that's your diaphragm. And you, by the way, when you do that movement with the breath, it's your diaphragm on the physical level is working. And then someone calls you and says, hey, let's go hiking, for example. And you go hiking. And now you're breathing the fresh air and you're feeling good and the birds are chirping. And you're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. Now we enter the heart. Now you feel love. At that moment, when you feel that, you kind of for a moment will forget that feeling of fear. Your memory maybe will still remember that you're about to call bankruptcy or whatever. But at that moment, you're like, oh, look at this beauty. You're just enjoying the beauty. But the moment you start remembering about bankruptcy, the fear kicks in. And then when the fear kicks in, you go, oh, you again, it's okay. I'll talk to you later. That's fine. Deep breath with the diaphragm, move the energy. Yes, angry, I want to get angry. Or I don't have to get angry because that channel is already opened. I already went through anger and peace. Now I'm in love. Okay, good. Let me just continue. You see, you're the one who can change the state. You have two choices: to go back, and the birds, still same birds, it's still chirping. But now you're back and you're still sitting in your lower triangle and going blah, 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 thinking about it. And your friend is so happy. And now you back to yourself when you were. You have that choice. But you also have a choice. Now you know the anatomy. You go, wait a minute. I know I'm there. I'm in the funk. Let me just pull myself out of it. This is how we do it. It's okay. Yes, you feel fearful, but everything is always working out for you. Remember? Yeah, remember. The diaphragm, the peace. Okay, the peace, the love. Okay, so now you're oscillating between this lower triangle and upper triangle. Okay, then after 40 days, that's how long it takes. 40 days, you will become, it's going to be your habitual state: peace, love, peace, love, peace, love. That's your natural habitat. That's your normal. Because why? Because you trained your brain for 6 weeks to notice little things. You ate that piece of chocolate and you really nurtured yourself at that time emotionally and felt good about it. And you built this, okay, it's all going to be okay. So you're keeping your emotions elevated. And now your brain is seeing opportunities, because opportunities are in front of you. People who can help you in front of you. But when you're in the lower triangle, you cannot see that, because circumstances do not matter. What is happening with you do not matter. It's the state of being that determines what's going to happen next. So when you in this lower triangle, you are running on the Karpman's triangle, which is consists of two states. You're either perpetrator, someone who's judging and going after because that was wrong. You are savior. You going and saving because that is wrong what they're doing to that person. Or you're a victim. Look what they did to me. I did so much. I love. That's a victim. And you need to start noticing, paying attention to yourself, to your feelings, to your thoughts, because you go through this triangle 1,000 times during the day in your subconscious mind. Thousands and thousands of times. Why? Because it's your program. We have this amygdala place where we have a storage of these memories and these emotions. They just sitting there and doing what? Affecting your thinking, affecting your behavior, affecting your organ function eventually. If you read Bible, all these scriptures, right? What happened to Adam and Eve? This is when it's all happened. Like if you really read between the lines, Adam and Eve were running around in a beautiful place, completely naked, did not even know that they're naked. They were perfect in their eyes, but they were told not to eat the knowledge. So then they ate the thing, the forbidden fruit. And then all of a sudden, they noticed they're actually not wearing any clothes. What is that? Shame. And then they remembered that God told them not to eat. And I'm like, oh shit, the guy is going to kill us. Fear. They had to hide themselves. And then they were feeling guilty. But at the same time, what they say? Adam said, it's her fault. Blame. You see? If you really start reading the scripture between the lines, you could see this progression. Like this is the basis what we're made of. It's amazing. It's absolutely fascinating. I love that. And the best exercise, by the way, with shame, when you feel shameful, at that moment, like when you feel, whatever you're in right now, is where you are. This is what you know, okay? And at that moment, I knew what I had to know when I was ready to know. And with knowledge that I had at the time, that's why I took that step. So that type of things, you have to have the toolbox, the tools in your toolbox, so you can always pull it out and talk to yourself. During the day, constantly, as much as possible, recognize your thoughts, What are you thinking about? And what these thoughts are coming from. Are they coming from fear? Are they coming from guilt? Are they coming from peace or love? Or what are they coming from? Most of the time it's fear and guilt. If they're not from fear and guilt, if they feel good, accept them. If they coming from fear and guilt, still accept them, understand, and just say, okay, I'm working on fear right now. The fear came up. I'm working on my fear. Where is my fear? And you start looking for the fear inside of your body. Where is it located? And I'm going to disappoint you. You're not going to find fear. Like if you start looking for actual fear, the feeling, like right now, try to sit down and look for the fear right now. Where is it? You're not going to find it because it's false. It's false evidence appearing real. Fear. Like actual fear does not exist, but what it does, it creates this memory discharge of that program that then creates physical response of your body, clenching, the heartbeat, all these things. It's just the echo. Just go deep and be just honest with yourself. This toxic positivity makes people unhappy at the end of the day. They walk around, hi, I'm happy. But then if something happens, they have this negative feeling, but they try to hide it from themselves and thinking that I'm not supposed to be that way. No, if you're feeling it, that means it's trying to come out. What are you going to do with that? You're going to shove it back into your closet, or you're going to bring it out and say, okay, you worked, you served your purpose. Thank you. Goodbye. I do not want you to go into analysis and paralysis and blame your mother and do not blame anybody. This is the experience that we came for. We came to recognize and weed out, use what we use, and then what it served its purpose, recognize, weed out, inventory, throw it away, spring cleaning, move on. And then you're going to get more of that crap over time. Do the same thing. Just that personal inventory of your personal feelings. And then, right? Like I said, look for beautiful things in your life. Small, tiny, little beautiful things. Mental notes. And when it happens, stop everything. And those who know me, they know. I could be talking. Like right now I'm talking and the guy is walking with his dog and the dog is so beautiful. I'm almost stopped for a second. And those who know me, I could be talking and they're like, oh, wait, look at this. Completely unrelated, but it really helps. And I don't do it on purpose anymore. If you do it for 6 weeks, it becomes your program. Your subconscious is just a program and you're running on it. So might as well to train it so you could run for your benefit. And the last exercise is before you go to bed, just feel good. Feel good. Feel happy for everything that happened to you during the day. Yeah, you might have just had like a maybe shitty day. Don't think about it. Think about good things or think about what you want. And with that feeling, fall asleep. Why? Because at that moment, you are going from alpha, beta, theta, and then delta. So that theta state is when you're falling asleep, is the most suggestible for your subconscious. This is when you can mold it. And by the way, have you noticed that once we hit certain age, we kind of lose the filter. We don't care anymore what other people think. We become more like free of speaking, and especially for women after menopause, for men as well, because hormones change. And a lot of times we become more sensitive. Men become more like, you could see that they start crying. Even testosterone is normal, but they cry more. Women become angrier. Before that, she was an angel, and all of a sudden she's like Medusa Gorgona. That is because hormones are our guardians, and they protect this amygdala thing. And once hormones start to go down, everything that you had in that storage in your amygdala becomes visible. Now you feel it. You shoved it for many, many years in your subconscious. It was there, hidden, because hormones were holding it and sealing. And now hormones fading, and now you're feeling it more. Mood swings because of that. But why? Because you have these unresolved micro traumas or major traumas. No matter what it is, it doesn't matter what happened to you. It's that emotional response that you had there, emotional discharge that you had there is affecting you. And then you go up and down with your feelings. So we have physical body, we have emotional body, and we have spiritual body. We went in depth on the physical body. We went in depth on your DNA, microbiome. We spoke about your mitochondria. That is your physical apparatus. Today, we're talking about emotional. And then next time, we're going to be talking about spiritual body. And we're going to connect that all together. All right, guys, I love you all. And I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, just do your exercises and do go and check out previous videos and listen to them. Bye.
Bye.